going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're gonna start gapping some piston rings and putting our engine back together. So I'm kind of nervous. I've been watching a bunch of videos. Hopefully I do everything right. I'm gonna try and take my time so I don't mess anything up, but it should be pretty simple. So last video, when we pulled the rings out, they were like 18 thousandths to 20 thousandths at best. And they need, I think I'm gonna do probably 0.26 top and bottom. That's what I'm probably gonna shoot for just to be safe. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. So before I get too far ahead of myself here, I already started cleaning up the block a little bit with some wire brushes and that kind of thing, some degreaser. But I'm not really happy with how it looks just yet. So we're gonna finish up cleaning up the block, make all of our messes before we start putting pistons back in. And I also need to take some steel wool and some WD-40 to some of these cylinder walls. Yeah, I'll finish cleaning this sucker up. I don't really want to paint it, so I'm gonna try and make the aluminum look as good as it can. So something I picked up today was this little, I don't even know what you call these. They're like roll lock discs. And they got these things that screw in. It's like this rubber abrasive type deal. This is working really well for the engine block on the aluminum, so. Pretty legit. Way better than a brush. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is just to clean out. So there's just a tiny bit of rust, some little orange dots in some of these cylinders. I'm going to take some WD-40 and some steel wool and just go over them real quick. Not a huge deal. Alright, so after doing some research and stuff, I think we're good to go. God, I'm nervous. I just hope I don't mess anything up. Alright, let's pull the top ring here. There's that. Alright, so we got our tool here. I got this from Jags. This is a legit ring filing tool. If you don't want to spend the money and get one of these, they're cheap. But if you can't get your hands on one, you can always put a hand file and a vise, which is what I wanted to do, but I don't have a vise set up yet. So we're rocking with this. And I also don't have a way to clamp this down. I'm supposed to clamp this to a workbench, but I'm just gonna rock with it. So these are at like 19 or 20 thousandths. I'm gonna shoot for 24 thousandths. I was talking to Jonathan Capizzi about it, and he said on E85 with a 3.78 stock bore on a 5.3, 0.24 top and bottom is happy. Just pinch these together, and we only want to do, so you only want to do one side. You never want to do a little bit of both, a little bit of both. I'm going to pick one side and ride here, so we're just going to do this side close to the camera. And I don't know how much it does, you know, I don't know how much it's going to, I don't know how much it takes. But you know, we'll figure it out as we go. I'm gonna do a little more. All right, I don't want to go too much because you can always take more, but you can't get more back. So we're gonna do this exactly like how we did it last time. We're just gonna get the ring in there. Oops. And then we're gonna level it up here with our piston. To do this, if you don't have the actual tool, you just take your bottom ring and slide it out a little bit so that it'll hit the deck surface and level it out. So we'll slide that in there. Let me actually pull the ring up a little bit. They say the ring has to be all the way down there in the bore, but I don't know about that. So we're rocking with this, is what it is. Let's just see how much we've done. Let's try 21. We haven't done very much, so it's going to take a little bit. That was barely 21 thousandths, so we'll take a little more, and we'll just keep repeating until we get to 24. Alright, so I'm a little bit of a moron. I looked up the proper way to use this thing, And I knew these screws are here for a reason, but you're supposed to put it like this, apparently, up against the screws. I was going around because I'm a moron. But now that I know, we're good. So that's probably why my ring gap wasn't very straight. It was kind of not squared. So we'll go ahead and try and square this up. Hopefully this works a little better. I'm gonna guess I probably took too much just because I was trying to get this thing squared. If it's a little over, I don't really care that much. It's not a big deal to me. Maybe it is to you. Not a big deal to me. So get that dude in there, square it up like that. And let's check. So it's pretty snug. As you can see, like it kind of stays in there. So I think I'm gonna take just a little bit more. I'm sure as I keep going and doing more and more rings that I'll get the hang of it a little better and know about where they need to be. Just takes time, I'll get there. Again, if you have the tool, you can get it in there deeper. I don't know how much it really matters, but I'm sure people are gonna comment about how I need to put it deeper in the hole. Yep, that's, we got some slack in there at 24, so I just went a little bit over. Really not a big deal to me. It's right in between 24 and 25, so that's totally cool with me. To show you guys what 024 just about looks like. It looks about like that. I'm happy. On to the next one. So this was our top ring on number 1. Just got my first piston ring. Now it's just about getting it back on without breaking it, because I break things very easily. All right, there's that. So we'll go ahead and take our second ring off now. Now that's the only ring that I checked initially, that first top ring. So I'm gonna go ahead and check this bottom ring and see what it's at. So what sucks is now I might have to put my top ring where my bottom ring is so I can actually use this as a tool. So right off the bat, let's just eyeball it and let's try 020. That one's actually 020. So the last one was a little tighter than the bottom ring. So this one's not gonna need as much. 022 is pretty snug, so we definitely don't need to take that much on this one. Decided to quit using the handle. It's annoying. All right, let's try it. All right, pretty close right off the bat. Just a little bit more. Already getting the hang of it, I guess. Pretty close, I'll do a little more. I'd say we're probably good right there. And then we want to take the ring going this way and clean it up just like that. And then the other way. Just to clean up those edges just like that. And I think we're solid. We'll go ahead and put this one back in. So now that we did a pair of them, I'm probably just gonna not film it because that'd be boring, seeing me do every single one of these. But yeah, we'll go ahead and start doing the rest of them. All right, so this is kind of interesting. I'm on piston number 2, bottom ring, and yeah, I need to double check, but I'm pretty sure it's like 024 right on dot. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. There we go. Get in there level. And I could tell right off the bat that, wow, actually looks kind of, yeah, I mean, 024 fits right in there. So some of them are actually on point, surprisingly. I wasn't sure going into this, well, if the first one I pulled was 18, then all of them got to be within a few thousandths. But that's not the case. And it also could be a top ring, bottom ring thing. You guys can understand. I don't know. Never done this before. Don't know much about this stuff. So maybe it's a top ring, bottom ring thing, or maybe individual cylinders, that kind of thing. I don't know. But I'm not even going to touch it because it's already 024. So cool. All right, so we got all of our rings gapped successfully, and all back in the box. Everything got organized, everything got put back exactly how it was, and I made a little checklist as I was going just to stay focused and not get mixed up or anything. But I also marked down what they were because a lot of the bottom rings were way over 024 just to begin with. So I just figured I'd mark them. Probably no reason to, but I mostly just made this checklist going through so I wouldn't lose track of where I was. Ring filer worked pretty well. It says that to be super light on pressure, but as I was going, I started using more pressure and things were going much faster because I knew how far I could basically go. But yeah, so we got that done in about an hour. Not too bad. So I'm glad that we actually went and did this and I didn't just, throw it all together. I'm glad I'll be able to sleep at night knowing that, if something ever happens, it wasn't because I didn't gap the rings, Just that added little bit of protection, and I think we're going to have a strong motor here. So the next step is to start putting pistons in. So if I'm not putting the rest of the short block together tonight, I think what I'm going to work on is down here, we have 200,000 miles of death that I need to remove from the floor. So been doing a bunch of grinding, and something that I realized I needed to do was get these factory little heat shields for the catalytic converters, and they're not really, I wasn't really sure how they were attached, but it wasn't like bolts, I don't know. Basically it was a job for the death wheel, and there was lots of grinding, and it was, yeah, so that wasn't very fun. I was laying under all that. So alrighty, it is tomorrow night. And so I've been watching videos all day. I've been mentally preparing for this process I'm about to endure. I know I can do it. I'm just nervous I might mess something up, and it's kind of detrimental. It's just the rotating assembly, So last night we gapped the piston rings, and that went pretty smoothly. But so I started watching an old video in the midst of me trying to do research and find videos of people putting it together. I remembered that a long time ago we filmed my dad and I putting together my first nitrous engine for my S10, and there was a lot of good stuff in there that I kind of forgot about. It was so long ago, and I only did it once. I only watched. I didn't actually hardly did anything, but
sold with a dot up, or if it'll say top, it'll have a marking on the rings to show up.
So I took some stuff from that video. I'm going to incorporate it into this, and I'm going to try my best not to mess anything up. Again, it's my first time doing this myself. I have no supervision, so it is what it is. I'm just going to dive in. Something that I definitely want to check is when I was gapping rings last night, I didn't notice that the rings actually, some piston rings have a dot to signify that they're face up, or they have a chamfered edge to face down or up, whatever, and it all is dependent on top and bottom ring. But I didn't notice that with any of those rings, but I definitely, now that I think about it, should check and make sure that they are not supposed to face up or down. So we're going to do that real quick, and then I guess I'm going to start assembling this thing one piston at a time. So let's get started. I want to double check myself. Now I did put the piston rings back as far as top and bottom. They're all still top and bottom, even though they look exactly the same. Some of them are gapped differently, but I just want to make sure I'm not crazy here, and I need to double check and make sure these don't have a dot signifying that it faces up or whatever, or if there's a chamfered edge or something. So now when you got somebody that's never done this before, it's easy to miss things, so trying to be careful. I don't see any dots. Nothing strikes me as this side is up, or there's no beveled edge, so Yeah, I think we're all right. I'll check the bottom ring because sometimes the top ring doesn't matter, the bottom ring does, or vice versa. So another thing we also need to check is, the reason that yesterday, so the reason that we took this and did it this way, like that, is to get the burrs off of the rings. And what that does is makes it so we can slide our ring back and forth in the grooves because you're supposed to be able to slide them back and forth. So this ring, I do not see. Oh, that's a dot. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's definitely a dot. So maybe the bottom rings have dots. That's interesting. Well, it's a good thing I went back and watched, because I would have put half of those freaking pistons back in, and I guarantee you half of the rings are the wrong direction. So let me see if I can show you guys this. So right there is our dot, signifying that it faces up, which I'm gonna double check that because that could just be a small block Chevy thing, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the general standard is if there's a dot, it faces up. So by some miracle, I just checked all my pistons and only one of them had an incorrect ring. So I guess on these, the top ring is squared and it doesn't have a dot, it doesn't have a certain way it faces, but the bottom rings all have a dot just like this. You always want to make sure the dot faces up. So it's a good thing I did some more research and made sure of that, or else my one ring that was not the correct way, I guess what would happen is you'd start getting oil in your combustion chamber on the compression stroke. So that would not be good. Good thing I caught that, but hey, we're learning things every time I go to do this, so. All right, so first order of action is we need to freaking oil up our engine stand here because we're gonna be spinning it over a lot tonight, so. Let's get this ball rolling. So what I wanna do is we're gonna turn this thing over. Oh, that's buttery. I wanna go ahead and put some assembly lube on all of our rod journals. So we're just gonna, I don't really know how much I need. Let's do the left. So our piston's gonna go in like this. So before we do anything, we need to make sure our rings are 90 degrees opposite of each other. So I guess the way I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna stand the way I'm gonna orientate this. It's going in like this. So I'm gonna make my top ring face down and my bottom ring face towards me like this. Kind of like that. So you always want to make sure your ring gap is opposite of each other, basically 12 and 6 o'clock. So another good thing about when you number your pistons like this, I numbered, you're not going to be able to see, but I numbered the top of the piston, I numbered the rod, I numbered the cap, everything. When you numbered it while everything was together, you wrote the number, like if you're putting in your number upside down like this, then your rod's going to be backwards and everything else. So when you're doing it this way, it gives you some more reassurance on how things go together. We'll slide this dude in like this. So try not to touch the sleeves. Now we need like a something nice and soft, like the end of a ball peen is what we need. Okay. There it goes. Whew, I'm so scared. All right, that's in. I think I'm doing this right, guys. I'm so nervous. I don't know what I'm doing. So I think what we do is we put all of our pistons in the bores, and then we turn the engine over, and then put our caps on. I think that's the way to do this. So now we need number 3. Got number 3 here. Just gonna double check, make sure our bottom ring has the dot up, and it does. We're also gonna make sure both of our rings have play, they spin in their grooves, just like that. We're gonna orient them so that, I'm gonna make these all the same, just because I feel like that's right. It's the right thing to do. So, bottom ring, the gap's gonna be at 12 o'clock like that, something like that. And top ring, we're gonna put at 6 o'clock like that. It's pretty close. Grab our ring compressor. Oh, gotta take the cap off first, it's kind of important. Yep, it's in there. That was easy. Didn't even have to use the hammer for that one. Number 5. What if I do this all wrong on camera and everybody bullies me and I have to delete the footage? That would suck. Hammer time, where'd I put my hammer? There. Good old hammer time. Look at that. Look at that. We already got 4 of them suckers in there. There we are. This is the part where I'm a little confused on. So I think what we want to do is, see, I think we were supposed to do one at a time. I think that's where I messed up here, but I think we'll be okay. Do this maneuver. Something like that, okay? Just gonna throw a little more, just be safe. I also wanna make sure my bearing is seated correctly. I think we're okay. Now our cap only goes on one way. Check our cap here. Got number 1 on it because we numbered them. Now if you're paying attention, cap only goes on one way. Just like that. I'll show you. You can definitely tell we have it on the right way. If you have the cap on backwards, it literally won't sit flush. So it only goes on one way. Can't mess it up. I mean, you can, but you really can't mess it up. As I'm probably messing something up. I'm literally just gonna snug them up just a little bit. That's all. It's looking good. Put it right there. Hold it up as we push. I probably couldn't get away with this if I didn't have such a worn out freaking LS engine. But we can just do that because we're gangster like that. So a little more lube wouldn't hurt, you know, just to be safe. Trying to do things right here. Probably going way too crazy with this here, but we're fine. It's fine. And we'll grab, this should be number 3 rod cap, and it is because I numbered them. I'm gonna go on one way, just to check. Oh, that's backwards. See, gotta put it on this way, just like that. Okay. So I think at this point, you guys get the idea here. So at this point here, I think I'm gonna be okay. And I think I'm gonna shut the camera off because nobody wants to watch me do this all night. But I think I'm gonna go YouTube live for a little bit. So let's do that. All right, guys. So we are live for a little bit as I put
the rest of the rotating assembly together. I think we did everything okay. Not sure. I'm about to find out. I'm going to spin it over and make sure I don't hear any clunks or bangs, or I don't know what to look for. I don't know what I'm doing. But we got the live going here. I'm going to start doing these because normally, like, when I'm filming stuff, it's just too boring to just sit here and film me repeatedly putting pistons in. So sometimes I like to go live. I'm gonna start doing that every so often. But yeah, I think we're good. I'm gonna turn this thing over and make sure everything seems all right.
Everything appears to be okay. Oh, there's some. Oh yeah, I see a problem. Yeah, that's a problem. You'll have that on the big jobs. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and snug up our rod bolts. I think we're good. I'm gonna also just double check and make sure our caps are all facing the right directions. Make sure, just, again guys, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, so I'm just trying to be as safe as possible under no supervision. Make sure all of our caps are lined up right. If anything was wrong, I'm sure it would jump out at me by now. So I'm gonna go ahead and snug up our rod caps. Give them a couple uggos. Oh. Well, that's not good. Oh, you idiot. I don't know if you guys just saw that. Oh my God, the socket fell off the... Oh my God. Okay, so the socket fell off of my driver here. It just stops. I'm like, oh my God, what did happen? What happened? Idiot. All right, this must be so entertaining. All right guys, we are back. I just finished doing my live. So if you guys were in there for that, I appreciate you guys watching. But so now we're back to this. So I got all the pistons in, and I've got all the pistons snug, or all the rods, the rod bolts snugged up, and turns over nice and easy. I don't see any issues. I don't hear any issues. Everything looks to be as it was. So we officially got all of our rings gapped. And I think we did everything right. So real quick before we end the video, I want to give a huge shout out to my buddy Cody. He sent me some shirts. He's got a little shirt brand called Deadly Daily, and he makes some really cool designs. He sent me a bunch, and this is my favorite one. I think it's the most fitting. It says, fastest thing you ever saw on jack stands. So I'll leave a link to his site, but Deadly Daily. There's all kinds of other shirts. I'll pop up on the screen. A lot of funny sayings and really awesome designs. So we also got our Gen 2 hoodies and shirts, our new design out. It's been out for a little while, but we finally have them in stock. So once you order, you will get them within a week at least. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. We finally got this thing back together. Like I said, we're finally making steps, putting things back together and not tearing things apart. We're starting to turn the dial this way. So the next step is we're gonna probably slide the cam in here real soon. But I've never degreed a cam before. And I know I keep saying I'm gonna have somebody come and supervise me, but I'll probably end up just watching videos and figuring out how to do it. But I need to get one of those tools that you degree a cam. I don't even have one of those. If I can, I'm gonna have somebody come here and show me how to do it so I don't mess it up, because I know it's pretty complicated. But yeah, we'll get the cam in, degree the cam, and start putting just slapping more parts on this thing, because we got them. So I think that's gonna do it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching and hanging out. We should see you guys real soon. The content should keep going from here. Got plenty to do, but yeah, thank you guys. We'll see you in the next one.